OK, well, history for Real Madrid in Kiev, their 13th title. But Liam, you know, we saw the pictures of Karius, and this final will be spoken about for years in terms of, I know Bale scored that incredible goal, but Karius.
Well, it was a nightmare, wasn't it? You can't describe it any other way. He gifted 2 goals to Real Madrid. OK, the Bale thing was something incredible. We won't see a better goal in the Champions League final. But Karius, we highlighted him before the game. We've highlighted him all through this tournament. He is a huge weakness in the side, but I never thought I'd see a goalkeeper concede 2 goals like that tonight. The first one was really stupid, and the second one looked to me as if his nerve had gone completely, and as that ball was travelling towards him, he just didn't fancy saving it. And you can't have a guy like that in goal if you want to win trophies. A shame. Salah going off had a huge bearing on the game, but I think in the end, Madrid were the better team with a better way of keeping the ball. They managed the game better, but they were gifted 2 goals in a 3-1 win by the goalkeeper.
Like, Eamon, we started the night talking about saying, look, it's all about the winners, and it is, and Madrid just serial achievers in this competition. But like the Liverpool pictures that we've just seen and the images of Karius, like, they're heartbreaking for Liverpool fans. Yeah,
well, they are very upsetting for Liverpool fans, but they didn't start tonight with Karius. Every Liverpool fans have known all along that he's not good enough to be in goal for Liverpool, and he's not good, I said before the match, to play in the Champions League final. He's going to let you down somewhere along the way, and the person I hold responsible for that is Jurgen Klopp. There's no mystery about Karius. He's not up to playing in the Premier League. Last summer, Jordan Pickford was available from Sunderland for 30 million, and Klopp should have bought him. He didn't. I commented on it at the time. They need a goalkeeper, Mignolet or Karius. Mignolet is better than Karius because Karius he's no good. And I can tell you a fact, and Didi just told me about it. He drives around in a car and the logo has LK1. He's a big star in his own head. And as for Liverpool fans, I know what they're going through. And it's not just now. They've gone through it with this coach and this team for a long time, for all the brilliance of Salah, the magic of Firmino and Mane. This thing, this train wreck of a defence has cost them dear. It's very sad, but, you know, you need standards in football at this level, and this guy doesn't match those standards.
Well, their images we will remember for a long, long time as he walks around in front of the Liverpool end of the stadium in Kiev, heartbroken at the result, as all Liverpool fans are. Yes, it's Real Madrid's night in Kiev, a night to forget for Liverpool. Did you give me your reaction to what we've seen?
Well, I think we've seen a team that goes down in history. They might not be the most flash team in the world. We're used to Barcelona at the time with Neymar, with Messi. But to win it 4 times in 5 years, to win it 3 times in a row, I'm not sure whether it'll be repeated in the next 10, 15, 20 years or even longer. And I've got to say, again today, a rough start to the game. Obviously, Salah's substitution helped them, but then the way they passed the ball, the way they tired Liverpool out. Yes, a bit lucky with the 2 goals they did score, but I think we've seen a class team today that, as I said, will go down in history.
Yeah, and just as the Atletico players did in the Europa League final, Real forming a guard of honour for Liverpool. I wasn't sure if that would happen this evening. Like, Eamon, just, you know, about Real Madrid and all these records, and Zidane, the first ever coach to win this thing 3 in a row. Like this, these are astonishing times for them.
Yes, and for Zidane particularly, a great player and a highly respected person in football, it's marvellous. They won't be able to sack him now. He's won 3 Champions Leagues in a row, and that was on the cards. I have to say that this is the last time you'll see that Madrid team picking up a Champions League, because they're tired, they're old. Ronaldo tonight, you know, didn't quite have it, and 1 or 2 others, Modric also. Ramos, I think, their great leader and captain, he doesn't have it anymore. But this was their valedictory night, really, as Didi says. This is a great achievement.
And I wonder, will they sell Gareth Bale? Anyway, Real Madrid, and really it's such an incredible achievement. 13 UEFA Champions League titles, or 13 European Cups. Really sensational. Liam, we'll hear hopefully from Klopp in a little while. What do you expect him to say? Like, it doesn't seem to be like Karius will come up in the interview afterwards, but like I don't. Do you think he's the type of manager who'll have a go at his goalkeeper on TV, or should he have a go at him? Like, what's your feeling?
Well, he'll be mentioned, you know, that he didn't expect his goalkeeper to perform like that. Liverpool really couldn't show what they could do in this game, Dara, where they were showing it for 28 minutes till Salah went off, and when he went off it was a huge blow. But they were still in the game, 0-0 at half-time, and then, you know, the Karius started to have a nightmare. And how does a manager legislate for that? Eamon is correct. He's had chances to have a look at the goalkeeping situation. We've been flagging it up for a while that neither goalkeeper inspire the defenders in front of them. And so many goals they've conceded have been down to bad goalkeeping, whether it's Mignolet or whether it's Karius. So ultimately he's got to carry the can for that, Klopp, and he, without doubt, he probably skirt over Karius' performance tonight. But there's no doubt that he's got to change and get a good goalkeeper for the upcoming season or next year. I'm just sad because they couldn't show what they could do because Salah went off and because Karius had an absolute howler.
And like Eamon, I suppose, looked at, you know, Mignolet, we saw pictures of him walking around as well. Like, he's had massive issues in goal as well, and this decision was taken, we're going to go with Karius.
Well, you shouldn't be left with that choice. If you're Liverpool Football Club, it's a very big and wonderful club with a great fan base. They're fantastic people. They've had people like Didi and Dalglish, Ian Rush, and play for them. They shouldn't be stuck for a goalkeeper who's competent. Competence would have been enough. And I think that it's also worth saying that the Mo Salah incident changed everything. And tonight, I think Liverpool would have won if that hadn't happened. Because Madrid weren't shaping up, they weren't able to go the pace, but that was a body blow to Liverpool. And really, that incident and the mistakes made by the goalkeeper are just too much for those players and their fans to bear. And Klopp has a lot to answer for. We've praised him for what's great, and that's the front three. But we have to say, in a Champions League final, to have your goalkeeper make mistakes like that is really shocking.
Didi, what will the Liverpool players say to their manager about this when the dust settles?
I don't think it's for them to tell the manager what they do think. If he does ask them, I think the answer will be obvious. I think there's two things to say. I think, for one, I think this team overachieved. I think it may sound a bit harsh that they've been found out this evening, but if you saw the way Madrid passed the ball over 70 minutes, controlled the game, as I said, tired Liverpool out, then I think they were in a different league today. On the other hand, yes, Salah's departure hurt them. But for me, it's too easy to say, well, Salah went off and that was it. Because I saw the manager coming out after half-time. He had his head down, the shoulders were down. The whole belief seemed to be gone. Out the team, out the manager, out the whole stadium. And of course he scored 40 goals this season. He's a vital part and a hugely important player for this team. But they're still in the game. You know, it's still 0-0 at half-time. You're still right in the game. And
they were in the game a lot of the second half as well, did he? Like, Mane hit the post at 2-1. Yeah. You know, you just can't legislate for your goalkeeper doing things like that.
I agree with that. But
the Real Madrid, okay, they were better in possession, but they didn't dominate the game until Liverpool had to go chasing it and leave 3 against 3 or 4 against 4 at the back, and it looked like Madrid could increase their lead. But, you know, it took a wonder goal and 2 absolute mistakes that you wouldn't see a kid make in a schoolboy match.
But you always felt that Real Madrid, after Salah's departure, is in control of the game.
The game changed. Yeah, well, when Liverpool equalised, right, then Gareth Bale gets an unbelievable goal, a wonder goal. But Liverpool, came back. Mane hit the post, and then he goes and does that with 10 minutes. What was left there? 10 minutes left.
Yeah,
near enough.
Yeah. Well, sorry,
I think you're being a bit harsh on Liverpool. I don't think it was that much.
Minute was
I think the difference between the sides was obviously a really bad goalkeeper and a miraculous goal by Gareth.
I think what Didi's talking about, and I think I agree with him. Didi played in the team in 2005. It was 3-0 down at half-time. How bad is that? It's worse than losing Mo Salah. And they came back because in the dressing room, in the team, in the coach, Rafa Benitez, Benitez said this week, what made the difference was Didi Hammam in midfield, coming in midfield, playing AC Milan, one of the best teams in the world. And they came back and they won it.
Yeah, and
that's what you're talking about, isn't it?
Because you only get so many chances. When is the next time we're going to see Liverpool? And he was right to say this week, Jurgen Klopp, if you're in a final, regardless whether we win or not, we are back. I think everybody knows now in European football, when you want to attract players, they see there's something growing, we want to be part of it. But, there's no guarantees these players get another shot at the Champions League. And if you look back the last 5-6 years, there were League Cup finals lost. There was a UEFA Cup final lost 2-3 years ago under Klopp's tenure. And it's a repeat of what we've seen over the last few years, because it's all well and good saying, yes, we've in a way overachieved and we got to the final. It doesn't count for nothing if you don't put the trophy and the year on the pennant. And this is what that killer instinct that, yes, it might be a bit harsh, and of course Salah's departure hurt them, but we've seen this for too long now. And yes, the team has been improving. Having said that, they needed a win in the last game against Brighton to finish in the top 4 again, even though everybody said they've played a fantastic season. And I just wonder whether with this crop of players, how much you're going to achieve, because this will hurt them tonight. And some of these players would have lost a Europa League final a few years ago. They would have lost a League Cup final. And if you can't get over the line 2, 3, 4, 5 times, I wonder whether you need to change the character of the team, and I think this is what they have to do now. And
that's going to take a lot of money. Like, if you look, Eamon, over the last 4 transfer windows, Liverpool, like Man City, have a net spend of €403 million. Liverpool are in 101st position in a league table, a net spend of €5 million. Now, the Coutinho money, €160 million, does kind of skew that. Yeah. But if you're talking about a goalkeeper, a centre-back, you did mention as well, all of you, before the match, about the kind of lack of depth on their bench. Yeah. I know Oxlade-Chamberlain was missing, but they need to grow this squad, and that's going to cost a fortune.
Yeah, they do need to grow the squad. If you want to be a top Premier League club and a top European club, you should have a bench as the Gareth Bale's sitting on, or somebody of that, Asensio.
Game changer.
Yeah, game changers on the bench. They've got nobody. They need to. Fenway Sports own Liverpool. They're an American sports company. They need to invest. They need about 4 or 5 top-class players. Some defenders, a midfield player. They have, though, something wonderful. The hardest thing in the game is to find a Mo Salah, a Firmino, a Mane, goal scorers, people with pace. They have a lot, but they've got to keep building. And there appears to be a kink in... Didi's right to refer back to Sevilla in the Europa League, when they really, they threw the game away. That maybe in Klopp's head, there's something wrong, that he can't close the deal, get it over the line. I don't know how many finals now he's been
6 in a row. He's lost.
And he's lost. And you have to question anybody who could put that goalkeeper Karius in that position tonight. I mean, Mignolet is actually better. And certainly Jordan Pickford, for 30 million last year, who was bought by their neighbours, Everton, he should have been first in the door, because he could have promised Pickford Champions League football, which Everton couldn't do. And Pickford is now in the England squad. That's just doing your business correctly.
Let's have a look, because there's an awful lot of incidents to pick through over the course of the game. And we're going to start with the Benzema goal, which came, Liam, if you want to describe this, 5 minutes into the second half, and Karius
Well, you know, you wouldn't see a kid doing it, as I said, in a schoolboy match, Darragh. Like, he's got the ball. They were under a bit of pressure here as well. Madrid had started the second half very well. So what he's got to do now is take his time. Give his defenders a breather. They'd been up against it for 5 or 6 minutes of that second half, and he throws the ball. And Didi said, well, maybe it was dangerous play, Benson, but look, he's a yard away. My God, I've never seen anything like that before.
There's 4 or 5 white shirts in shot, and we touched on it before when he threw the ball out before the first goal of Jesus away to Man City in the Etihad. This is just a lack of composure, a lack of concentration, a lack of class in a way. There's 50 minutes played, it's 0-0, catch the ball, settle down, see what you can do, because it wasn't a situation where he can throw the ball quick, maybe to start a counter-attack, because as I said, there were 4 or 5 white shirts in shot, and even if the ball had got to Trent Arnold, I think there would have still been a chance he would have been put under pressure and they would have lost the ball again. So, yeah, no excuse. It was comical, really, because as Liam said, you don't see this on a Sunday morning with the schoolboys, and very surprising to see it in a game like this.
And yes, 4 minutes later, Liverpool get back Sadio Mane. They get back to level term.
They've had 2 body blows, losing Salah, Karius committing that, and the person, Ramos, is under this, but he doesn't get there. Van Dijk gets there, and or Lovren actually gets there, and Mane does really, really well. He's onside, he's not offside, and that puts them back in the game, and that is huge. At that moment, that was huge. And there's Jurgen doing his dance. But it was a very, very important goal, and a bad goal for Madrid to give away. Now they're back in business, really. This is where the bench kicks in, though, and the absence of it. You now need to think, OK, we're back in business. Have we got anyone we can put on there? And they didn't, because Lallana's been out injured, Chan has been out injured, so they'd nobody.
And Madrid did.
And Madrid did. G. Bale.
We talked about experience in game management before. Liverpool would have had 5, 6, 7 corners. One of the corners was floated in. There was a goal. Because they've got in Lovren and Van Dijk, they've got probably the 2 best headers of the ball on the pitch. Even Ramos couldn't stop Lovren. After this, they had another 2 or 3 corners. They whipped him in. And
Easy
they came
for the goalkeeper.
They came to the goalkeeper collected a couple. He palmed a couple away. So this is where I struggle to think or try to get into players' heads. Milner is one of the most experienced players.
Hugely, yeah.
He sees I float one ball in. Lovren beats Casemiro, he beats Ramos. Mane is there to knock the ball in. So why on earth do I not play the next corner, the same way than from the one I just scored from? And this is where experience, game management, getting a feel for the situation. And this is what has been lacking.
Yeah, but you can't legislate for this goal that we're going to see now.
Yeah, we're actually going to hold it because it is worth just getting ready for. Now, let's have a look at... We're talking here during the ad break, trying to pick a more memorable goal in the Champions League final. Zidane's 1-0-2 comes up high, but Didi, this one is right up there.
Yeah, I haven't seen a better goal in a Champions League final. Marcello comes on his right foot, on his weaker foot when he comes out there now, and the ball comes at pace. So in a way, I think this is a harder goal to score than the one actually Ronaldo scored away to Juventus, because the ball comes at pace. It's behind him, and this is just balance, technique. Intuition. This is just world class. You can't teach anything like it. And I'm yet to see a better goal. Zidane's was great. I think it probably should have been saved. Great skill and quality as well. But this goal is, the best I've seen in Champions League final history. And I'm not sure whether we see a better one in the foreseeable future.
How good was it?
Oh, I totally agree with Didi. I think it was so memorable. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And I agree with Didi about being better than the goal Ronaldo scored in Turin, because it was dropping and it was, this happened real quick. It was a cross, flying, and he's just on the pitch a few minutes.
2 minutes and 5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, just the imagination and, as Didi said, the instinct. I mean, that's why they call it a beautiful game. Yeah. I mean, that is so beautiful. And it was so vital. to regain the lead, to win the Champions League. A guy who's been messed around all season, been injured half the time, rumours about him being for sale. That will put his price up if he comes to the Premier League. But, he's been like through a bit of torment at Madrid. And to score that amazingly beautiful, that's what I'll go to tonight. And kids will go to bed tonight dreaming of that. The last thing they'll do before their heads hit the pillow, oh my God, and they'll wake up tomorrow morning and get their cornflakes and go out and try and do it. But that's what the game is. When they talk about the beautiful game and the dreams of the game, that's it, isn't it, Liam?
Absolutely.
You did it in the cup final.
No.
He did it in the Champions League final.
Absolutely.
Liam did something sublime in the cup final once against Manchester United. And that's what makes kids love football. That's why they go to bed happy, get up and go out and play tomorrow.
It was actually a cross that Liverpool would have been happy to see there, because it was coming on Marcelo's bad foot right. It wasn't threatening the goal, and they just couldn't believe it, could they? No. Yeah, just couldn't believe what Gareth Bale did.
I can tell you Ronaldo still thinks his goal was better, but anyway, we haven't heard from him. But Gareth Bale, an amazing, amazing, amazing goal. Tonight, he's won his 4th Champions League winners' medal. Yeah, it's a great season for them. I think one of the papers, The Examiner, called him the reluctant Galactico. Here is his 2nd goal on the night, and again, it's another Karius video nasty, Eamon.
It is, yeah, and at Anfield against Roma, Kolarov hit one before there was any goal scored, and that went through his hands and hit the crossbar. But this is like, oh my God. He's not concentrating, he doesn't really... Liam thinks at that stage his nerve is gone because of the earlier mistake, but... This is terrible.
I think Didi said it. It was probably not a ball you catch. It's dipping.
No. Well,
you maybe use your fist. Very good.
You get your chest behind it and you pull it into your chest.
Well, a defender could have actually chested that down.
Yeah. Or you flick it over.
That's how bad it was. A defender could have jumped up and caught that ball in his chest.
He's probably in shock from the earlier mistake and with the guilt of it. But this is professional sport.
It's a mental mistake, because everybody makes mistakes, otherwise there won't be any goals. But as Liam says, this is not a ball, it's moving. This is not a ball to catch, and this is why it happened. You should just palmed it or fisted it away.
We're just out of time. I mentioned about Zidane, the only coach ever to win 3 in a row. What does he do now, Didi?
Well, I don't know. What's he going to do? Does he want to win it a 4th time?
Yeah.
Some of his key players come to the autumn of their careers. If I was him, I'd certainly think about stepping away, because every top club in Europe would like to have his services. If something happens at a big club, I think he'd be first one on the list. Maybe the France job comes up after the...
Yeah, the France job would be very good. And by the way, I'd like to tell anyone who wants to see a real Champions League winner's medal, Lily's tonight. Didi's bringing it.
It's going to be put in the safe in his hotel. Don't worry about that. Guys, thanks a lot. We're out of time for this evening and for this European season of football. My thanks to Didi, to Liam and to